Imagine divorcing your wife because DNA proved she cheated. Only to find out years later that the test was never about her at all. Marcus thought he had the perfect life, a loving wife, 4 beautiful children, and a home filled with laughter. But one medical test convinced him that everything he loved was built on a lie. This is the story of a man who lost everything. Before discovering the truth was living inside him. And by the time he finally learned it, his family was already broken. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the story because you will be learning a lot from this story. A story by African Hope Folk Tale, created by Mrs. Real Money. The man who carried his twin. Marcus Chen had always believed he was blessed beyond measure. At 34, he stood in his kitchen on a Sunday morning, watching golden sunlight stream through the windows of their modest but warm home in the suburbs. The smell of pancakes filled the air. His wife, Alena, moved gracefully between the stove and the table, her dark hair tied back, humming softly, a habit that had charmed him since their college days 12 years ago. Dad. Dad. Watch this. 7-year-old Sophie cartwheeled across the living room carpet, nearly knocking over a lamp. Careful, princess. Marcus laughed, catching the lamp just in time. Daniel, their 9-year-old, looked up from his book with that serious expression he always wore. Sophie, Mom said no gymnastics in the house. You're no fun, Sophie pouted. 5-year-old Lily giggled from her coloring station, her fingers stained with marker. And in the playpen, 2-year-old Owen babbled happily, reaching for his stuffed elephant. Marcus's chest swelled with pride and gratitude. Alena caught his eye and smiled, that radiant smile that had made him fall in love with her in a crowded lecture hall all those years ago. She was everything, his best friend, his partner, the mother who stayed up late with sick children and woke early to pack lunches with handwritten notes inside. Their friends often joked that Marcus had won the lottery. Alena was not only beautiful but genuinely kind. She volunteered at the children's school, organized neighborhood gatherings, and somehow made everyone feel seen and valued. Even Marcus's initially skeptical mother had come to adore her. What did I do to deserve you? Marcus whispered, wrapping his arms around Elena's waist as she flipped a pancake. She leaned back into him. You were yourself. That was always enough. Life felt complete. Perfect, even. Marcus had no way of knowing that in just 3 weeks, his entire world would implode. It started on a Tuesday evening. Sophie came home from school looking pale. By dinner, she barely touched her food. That night, she spiked a fever of 103 degrees. Alena stayed up with her, placing cool cloths on her forehead while Marcus researched symptoms online, trying not to panic. By morning, Sophie's fever hadn't broken. Her lips looked pale, almost bluish. We're taking her to the hospital, Marcus said, already grabbing his keys. The emergency room was a blur of fluorescent lights and worried whispers. Doctors ran tests while Sophie lay small and fragile in the hospital bed, her usual spark dimmed. Alena held one of her hands, Marcus held the other. Dr. Rachel Morrison finally entered with a chart and a grave expression. She was a woman in her 50s with kind eyes that had clearly delivered difficult news before. Sophie has severe anemia, Dr. Morrison explained. Her red blood cell count is dangerously low. We need to do a blood transfusion immediately. Whatever she needs, Marcus said without hesitation. I'll donate. I'm O positive. I can. Let's test you first, Dr. Morrison interrupted gently. We need to ensure compatibility. Marcus rolled up his sleeve immediately, desperate to help his little girl. The nurse drew his blood. Alena was tested too. Then they waited in that horrible liminal space where hope and fear coexist, watching Sophie's chest rise and fall, praying. 2 hours later, Dr. Morrison returned. Her expression was different now. Confused. Mr. Chen, there's a problem. Your blood type is O positive, but Sophie is AB negative. That's not possible with your genetic combination. Mrs. Chen is A positive, which means, she paused, choosing her words carefully. I'd like to recommend additional testing. Marcus didn't understand. Not yet. What kind of testing? Dr. Morrison's eyes flicked to Alena, then back to Marcus. Genetic testing. To better understand Sophie's condition, Elena's face went pale. And in that moment, something cold began to crawl up Marcus's spine. Part 3, The Unraveling. They found a donor for Sophie. She recovered within a week, her color returning, her laughter filling the hospital room again. But Marcus couldn't shake the doctor's words. The confusion in her voice. The meaningful glances between medical staff. Late one night, after Elena had fallen asleep, Marcus sat in his home office, laptop glowing in the darkness. His hands trembled as he searched, blood type inheritance impossible. The results made his stomach turn. He ordered a DNA test online. Just to be sure. Just to quiet the screaming doubt in his head. When the package arrived 3 days later, he told Elena it was work-related supplies. In the bathroom, with shaking hands, he swabbed Sophie's cheek while she brushed her teeth, making it seem like a game. She giggled, unaware she was participating in the destruction of everything Marcus believed about his life. The results took 2 weeks. 2 weeks of Marcus watching Elena with new eyes. Studying her interactions. Remembering their past. Had there been signs? Late nights explained away. Unexplained absences. He replayed their entire marriage like a detective, hating himself for it but unable to stop. Elena noticed the distance. Marcus, what's wrong? She asked one evening, touching his shoulder. You've been so distant lately. Are you worried about Sophie? She's fine now. The doctor said. I'm fine, he lied, pulling away from her touch that suddenly felt foreign. Just work stress. The email arrived on a Thursday afternoon. Marcus sat in his car in the office parking lot, unable to make his legs carry him inside. His phone felt like lead in his hands as he opened the attachment. Probability of paternity, 0%. The words blurred as tears filled his eyes. Sophie, is Sophie, who called him her hero, who saved her artwork for him, who held his hand during scary movies, wasn't his. That evening, Marcus couldn't look at Elena. He put the kids to bed mechanically, kissed their foreheads like a man in a dream. Daniel asked if he was okay. Marcus couldn't answer. When the house finally fell quiet, he confronted her. I need you to tell me the truth. His voice didn't sound like his own. Who is he? Elena looked up from folding laundry, confused. Who is who? Sophie's father. The words cut his throat like glass. Because it's not me. The laundry basket fell from Elena's hands. Clothes scattered across the floor like fallen hopes. What? Her voice was barely a whisper. Marcus, what are you talking about? He showed her the test results. Elena stared at the paper, and Marcus watched her face transform through stages of shock, confusion, and then something that looked like genuine bewilderment. That's impossible, she breathed. Marcus, there's never been anyone else. Ever. You know that. You know me. Do I? The anger burst through now, hot and terrible. Because these results say I don't know you at all. I don't understand. Elena's voice rose, desperate. Marcus, I swear to you, I swear on our children's lives, I have never been with another man. Not once. Not ever. The argument escalated. Neighbors probably heard. The children definitely did. Marcus would forever regret that. Elena cried so hard she vomited. Marcus punched the wall, breaking 2 knuckles. And still, she swore her innocence. But how could he believe her? The science didn't lie. DNA didn't lie. People lied. Part 4, The Cascade. In the horror and paranoia that followed, Marcus did something he would never forgive himself for. He tested the other children. Daniel. Lily. Owen. He told himself he needed to know the truth. That he deserved to know. That his entire life might be built on lies. Each time he swabbed their innocent mouths, a piece of his soul died. The results came back one by one over the following weeks. Daniel, 0% probability of paternity. Lily, 0% probability of paternity. Owen, 0% probability of paternity. 4 children. 4 betrayals. Or so he believed. Marcus stopped eating. Stopped sleeping. He lost 15 pounds in 3 weeks. His boss noticed his deteriorating performance. His mother called, worried, but he couldn't explain. How could he put this horror into words? Alena had stopped defending herself. She simply wept, deep, broken sobs that shook her entire body. She swore her innocence until her voice went hoarse, then fell silent, watching Marcus with devastated eyes. I don't know how this is possible, she whispered one night, the two of them sitting on opposite sides of their bed like strangers. But Marcus, I love you. I have only ever loved you. Something is wrong with those tests. It has to be. 4 tests can't all be wrong, Marcus said hollowly. Then something is wrong with reality, Alena insisted, because I know my truth. I know what I've done and haven't done. Those children are yours. They have to be. But science said otherwise. Marcus's mind spiraled into dark places. Had Alena been with someone before they married and hidden a pregnancy? Had there been an affair from the very beginning? Was their entire marriage a lie? Were the children even hers, or had there been some hospital mix-up? The paranoia became unbearable. 2 months after Sophie's illness, Marcus collapsed at work. Chest pains, difficulty breathing, the world spinning. His coworkers called an ambulance, terrified he was having a heart attack. In the emergency room, the same hospital where this nightmare had begun, doctors diagnosed him with severe anxiety and depression. His heart was healthy, but his mind was shattering. They kept him for 3 days, medicated and monitored. Alena came every day, sitting beside his bed in silence. The children weren't allowed to visit, and Marcus was grateful. He couldn't bear to look at them, these children he loved desperately but who apparently carried another man's DNA. On the 3rd day, a psychiatrist named Dr. James Okonkwo sat with Marcus. Tell me what's happening, Dr. Okonkwo said gently. And Marcus did. The whole terrible story spilled out. Dr. Okonkwo listened without judgment, then said something that would haunt Marcus: pain makes us see patterns that aren't there and miss patterns that are. Sometimes the simplest explanation isn't the right one. Have you considered that there might be a medical explanation? For paternity tests, Marcus said bitterly. What medical explanation could there be? Dr. Okonkwo didn't have an answer. But he planted a seed of doubt, not about Elena's fidelity, but about Marcus's conclusions. Still, when Marcus was released,